got a Marco Polo from a client the other day, and she shared with me that she realized she was feeling so much pressure. And then she went on to say, there's really no reason for me to experience this pressure. And she's right. But yet she said, I feel this inner sense of pressure. And then she named it for hers. Like, I feel this pressure to produce. It's not surprising. I know I can relate to it. I'm pretty sure you can relate to it. So let's talk a little bit here about pressure. See, pressure, if you stop and think about it, the moment you're under pressure, there's a physical experience it creates. Maybe your shoulders hunch up. Maybe your heart starts to race. Maybe your breathing changes. Maybe you start to sweat. The adrenaline gets going. But there is some type of physical feeling that's going to be a constriction, a contraction, a tightening. Now, keep that in mind and realize that we live in a world where we think pressure is a good thing. We think that we perform well under pressure, or we feel this, pressure to succeed, and we should feel a pressure to succeed or pressure to perform. Somehow we live in a world where we think pressure actually supports us to get someplace. And ironically, the place we're usually trying to get is to a place where we can experience ease and well-being and peace of mind and joy and fulfillment and satisfaction. Almost the exact opposite of pressure. So I'm here to tell you that pressure doesn't support you to experience any of those things. Pressure comes from a belief we have that we have to do something to get someplace so that then we can experience those things. Like peace and joy and abundance and well-being, they're like a destination. They're the reward for doing all these things under pressure, for producing all these things. They're not. Peace and joy and well-being and fulfillment, abundance is actually more a state of being. It's an experience that's available to you in this moment. But for that to happen, you got to relax, my friend. You got to let go of that pressure. You've got to set things up in your life so that you're not always under pressure. Because pressure blocks the flow. Pressure literally, physically, physiologically puts you in an experience of the opposite of well-being. Tension, constriction, we're not breathing well. Pressure never supports growth. It kills it. And pressure, my friends, and the physiological response it creates in you, it's a signal. It's a clue that in some way, conscious or subconscious, you've fallen into scarcity. You're operating from scarcity. You're reacting to scarcity. And scarcity, bottom line, is that not enough and that fear of not enough. So we put pressure on ourselves because we're afraid that we won't make enough, or we won't have enough, or we won't accomplish enough, or we won't do enough, or somehow we won't be enough. And if we're operating, if we're living our lives consciously or subconsciously under pressure from that fear, that of wanting to avoid that experience of not enough, well, guess what? We're in the very thing we want to avoid. And there is no amount of doing or getting someplace or producing, as my client said, that's going to change that experience of not enough inside of us. No externals will change that. We have to connect with something else within ourselves, my friend, that allows us to not feel pressured. We need to connect with the knowing that it's not just up to us. That abundance isn't a place we get to, it's an experience we have in this moment. It's the experience of knowing we're part of something bigger than us, and it's not just up to us to perform. And whenever you doubt that, I invite you to do just the opposite of what we do when we're under pressure, which is our breathing changes, it becomes more rapid, or we even hold our breath. I invite you to just practice for 1 minute, to stop in what you're doing, stop in that pushing, stop in that pressure, stop in that producing, and take some long, slow, conscious breaths. Because when you do, you'll remember physically and mentally this oxygen that's giving you life in this moment. You didn't make it. You didn't create it. You didn't produce it. You simply open to receive it. No pressure. And then, once it had filled you with life in this moment, you let it go, because the moment you tried to hold on to it, there comes the pressure again. And then you were empty and able to open again. Breathing reminds you that so much of life is not up to you, that you're participating in something much bigger than you. It also physiologically changes your experience of yourself in this moment, from that constricted, tight, pressured, stressed, scarcity experience within, to one that's more filled, nourished, alive, flowing, relaxed, peaceful, sufficient instead of deficient. I'm telling you, my friends, pressure is sending you signals that you've forgotten the truth, that you already are enough, and that you're participating in something much bigger than you. And so it's not all up to you. You can relax. Doesn't mean you don't have things to do and get done. But now, from an open, breathing, relaxed place, I guarantee you're going to be better able to take actions you need to take. And maybe perhaps realize you don't have to take as many as you think, because maybe there's something bigger going on that is at work in your life for you, with you, and through you. Knowing that, trusting that, allowing that moment by moment by moment, that's an experience of abundance. And that's what's going to flow through your actions and show up more and more in your life. Take a deep breath, my friend. No, abundance is here right now in this moment.